Another quote from Don Juan is, "A warrior must make every act count." I didn't understand the level of meaning of this statement at first. If you're making the efforts, you're making every act count right from the beginning, because even your failures, which are a given, will produce results and eventually show you how to succeed. It's easy to think, well, I have a long way to go to be a warrior, so that must be something I'll have to think about much later, and thus fall into the disease of tomorrow mode. Of all the indescribable value in this research group, acquiring discernment is one of the keys. The more discernment you acquire, the more value you get, and the higher you value this work as a whole, and everything this research network offers and makes possible. What I mean is discernment between truth and lies, also higher and lower parts of yourself, between the fine and the coarse in everything, between A and B influences in fourth way terminology, between fourth way work ideas and life in the wilderness, going in circles, between good and evil, between subjective and objective, conscious efforts and mechanical existence, which always tends to lead to evil circumstances, if I can put it that way. One of the things I mentioned often in this film was the problem of evil. If we really make the proper conscious efforts, really do our homework, then we are able to understand that here on this small remote planet, there is definitely good and there is evil. And then there is the context, the particular situations and circumstances that distinguish which is which. All of this requires discernment. There are no hard and fast rules, black and white. Learn 10 commandments or 20, and you'll know how to navigate life, and even more importantly, the work. There are some general rules of thumb, type guidelines, but there are many exceptions. The nuances are where the real lessons lie. The better you get at telling truth from lies, for instance, here on this peculiar planet, the harder and more nuanced the situations become to tell which is which. The lessons get progressively more difficult, and you get better and better at the skills, the chief one of which is discernment, needed to complete the lessons as you make perhaps slow but more or less steady progress. This brings us back to COINTELPRO and the cosmic hyperdimensional version of COINTELPRO. As Laura Knight-Jadczyk, the founder, along with her husband, theoretical physicist Dr. Arkadiusz Jadczyk, of the Cassiopeia.org and SOT.net websites, has said in several contexts, there's a flavor of disinformation or false belief system for everyone. If you don't buy one flavor, try another. Pretty much all bases seem to be covered by the powers that be, and at least for a while, most people are likely to partake of a generous helping of some flavor of lies sprinkled with distorted truths. The team at SOT and Cassiopeia also help others learn how to spot COINTELPRO and disinformation agents, conscious and unconscious ones, and their tactics, and to go in the direction of objective truth together. When all the different lines of work, conscious efforts, gathering and analyzing all kinds of data, and sharing knowledge are done in this group, one realizes both the true terror of the situation and also all the hopeful signs that changes for the better truly are possible with a sincere network like this. That this system of service to self, pyramidal domination hierarchy, dominated by conscienceless psychopaths on the human level, and reaching up far above the human level, all the way to non-physical realms, to perhaps the thought center of non-being, is not the only option. Through the hard work, we can find and choose the diametric opposite of what we now live. Eventually, we are able to choose who and or what to serve, if we want to align with the service to others principle. First, we internalize and serve certain principles consistently, such as truth over lies, as service to others candidates. We become better at preserving our own and all others' free will at all different levels. We stand up for the human rights and dignity of all others and demand justice for all without double or multiple standards, whereby we defend our own rights and dignity and raise the chance of justice and basic fairness for ourselves as we do for all. We must continuously find new and creative ways to do this as our choice to align with the creative principle and turning away from the destructive principle, and in the process freeing ourselves from the chains of STS and contributing to having the creative force to fully be expressed on our tortured planet. As laid out, we face truly formidable adversaries with a capacity to lie, cheat, and outcompete on an alarming level. As we are making efforts to change our alignment from STS to STO against stupendously powerful forces which prevent us from doing so, and work through our own minds to stop us, we cannot use the methods of STS. We cannot use violence, violations of free will, deception for self-gain, etc. Therefore, collaborative and creative ways of waging our battle is crucial and begins with the battle for our own minds and souls. When we become more unified and less fragmented through the work on ourselves, with the great help of Eri Uolas, breathing and meditation, we become more consistent and can choose what to support and what to oppose, both in ourselves and in the outer world. We can become progressively more responsible, that is, able to respond appropriately to whatever we are faced with. This battle really is to free ourselves from the pathological ways and systems set up by the psychopaths. We must free ourselves from the black and white thinking, this us versus them mentality, and the age-old methods of divide and conquer that have been foisted upon us. There is no rationality in looking to put the blame on this or that ethnic or religious group, or this or that ideology. Our concern is with psychopathological deviants in positions of power who have been using these religious and cultural beliefs, as with everything else, as a weapon against humanity to divide and rule. When we refuse to be dominated by these psychopathic ways on a personal level, we are also doing so for others, to preserve the freedom of all to choose another way, rather than have more and more choices eliminated, so that only the psychopathic choices remain, which are the strongest expression of service to self on our level. This is where there is so much true hope in this research project of SOTT.net, as opposed to false hopes and wishful thinking, which are so widespread among an overstressed and traumatized population. We all progress together, each at his or her own pace, from his or her own level. As each of us progresses to a more conscious, balanced, unified, less mechanical state of being, we perhaps make space for those who can follow this path, leading closer to objective truth. I thank the Signs of the Times and Cassiopeia Research Network and community, with everything good inside me, for all they've done and continue to do. It's hard to express all the benefits I and so many others have received from our learning experiences and participation in the network's activities.